Hey there, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Trinity Stamps video. Today we're going to be making a slimline card, so let's jump right into it. I have a slimline base that I have trimmed down to 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and I'm going to take the new A2 Foundations oval stencil and I'm going to line that up on the back there. There are some lines on the back. It's typically for A2, but this is actually super easy to do it for a slimline as well. You can very easily just center those up in between, and it's easy peasy. So moving on, I've got a dark green color and I'm using my Trinity blender buddies, and I'm going to just blend that color all over on that, trying to make sure that I have it nice and dark and deep all along those edges. I want those to be nice and crisp. And then I'll peel that off and I'll clean off my stencil. And then I'm actually going to pull out my Wendy Vecchi art station, and then I'm going to line up the die or the stencil over the top just a little bit better. This is just a step bigger than the previous stencil that we used. This is, I think it has a lot of pieces to it, but I just moved on to the one that was just slightly bigger, and I'm going to use a color that is slightly lighter, and then we'll just blend that all around, and so it'll make it look like a nice layered look, like you almost used some cardstock or something to layer those up, but you didn't. It's all one layer still. Moving on, I am going to take some pieces of cardstock and run those through my Xyron sticker makers. You wouldn't have to do this. I definitely recommend it with this piece because I'm going to be using that for a small sentiment later, but you don't have to do this. But I'm going to run this now through my die cutting machine with this new Sweet Holiday Wishes die set. I'm just using the little candy canes from the set right now. This is brand new. And so I'll run that through with red, and I'm going to run that through with white. And with the white, I'm actually going to run it through 4 total times because I want to pop these on top of each other 4 times so they're nice and thick. I'll pop all the little pieces out of the centers. I don't need the white. And then I didn't do stickers for all of them, just the one. And then just to show you that you can do it 2 ways. You can run it through a sticker maker, or you can use your liquid glue, however you have, whatever you have, whatever works best for you. And then I'm going to stick these down on top of what I stenciled. So I'll just put these 2 back to back. We're going to go for a stained glass effect. And you'll notice that when I ran the candy canes through on the red paper, I kept everything intact. There is a reason for that. So what I want to do, now that I have one down, is I want to take those candy canes, the red ones, and pop those out and be very careful not to have any of the pieces fall out, because it would be a little bit more of a pain to try and line those up. If you had to do each individual piece, you'd have to really think about that. But doing it this way, it saves you a whole lot of time. Now I can just use my paper piercer and I can pop all the little pieces right into where they belong. And when I pull the red candy cane away, you'll see that all those little pieces are in there just perfectly. So we'll do it for the other one as well. And do the same process. Just stick that right on top and pop all those little red pieces in. And I'm definitely keeping the red piece, the little negative piece, because we're going to use that on the inside of our card later. So those are all down, ready to go. And then I'm going to take the candy canes and the white parts, and I'm going to layer those up 2 more times. So these will end up being 3 layers, but only 1 red layer, and that red layer is embedded in there. So there's the second layer, and then we'll go ahead and do a 3rd layer for each of those. This works best if you're wanting to do the stained glass effect, using at least 3 layers before you get started using the actual stained glass stuff that we're going to be using, which is a product that most of us all have. I'm going to be using some Glossy Accents. So once all 3 of those layers are down, I'll grab my Glossy Accents, and then I'm just going to put Glossy Accents in each of the little wells. Don't worry if it gets onto the white at all. We're going to take care of that. That's what our 4th layer is for. That will cover up any mistakes if you end up pooling over. So I'll just put that into all of those little wells. And it looks a little cloudy right now. That's just the way Glossy Accents work. But when they dry, they'll be crystal clear, and it'll give it that candy cane effect, the look of wet candy. All right, now we'll go ahead and peel off the release paper on our sticker backs from our white. So like I said, this was another way you could have done it. And then I'll adhere those down right over the top. and that will cover up any imperfections from the crystal or the Glossy Accents if you got those over the edge. So that's 4 layers deep. It's almost like this little chipboard piece. Super fun. We haven't done really any stamping yet, and we won't just yet. So now we're going to move on to cutting out the words Sweet Wishes that come along with that Sweet Holiday Wishes die set. I'm going to run that through 3 times, and really the only reason why I did it 3 and not 4 is because that's all that would fit on this piece of paper that I cut. So yeah, I'll run that through 3 times. And then I'm going to keep it in the paper, but I'm going to pull out each individual word as I get to it. So we are starting off with, I believe this one is wishes. I'll pull out the wishes, and remember it has a sticker back to it, and I'm going to just place it right on top of one of the other wishes words. And leaving it on the paper, leaving the bottom one on the paper, actually helps just keep things lined up. It makes it so much easier for the word to not lose its shape. And then I just use my paper piercer and my fingers to kind of manipulate and move those around. This sticker paper is nice just simply because it doesn't adhere right away. I mean, it does, but you still have a little bit of time to move things around if you need to. And then once everything is on where they need to be, I'll use my bone folder, my Trinity bone folder, to make sure that everything is on there nice and good. Now we'll peel off each of the little sticker words. These are like little sticker chipboard words that say Sweet Wishes. And because they're not super sticky right at the moment, I mean they are because it is sticker paper, but they're not going to adhere right down. I can kind of move those around until I'm happy with exactly where they are. So I'm looking at that. It's not going to work that way. So once I'm happy with the word sweet, I'll push it down. And wishes, I do push it down, but then I decide I want to move it just a little, and because I still have a little bit of time, I can do that. And now I'll take my Trinity bone folder over the top of that and just kind of really adhere that down. And then I'll grab the eye, the little tittle from the eye. Try to pop that off with my paper piercer. It's very tiny. Here comes Miles. I'm telling you, I have gotten next to nothing done because of the boys. If it's not one thing, it's another. And yeah, anyway, love those kitties. So I'll put a little bit of glue down just to make sure, because this does have a sticker back, but I'm not feeling real confident since that eye is so tiny. So it's just a little dot of glue will do ya there. And then that part is ready to go. Now we're going to stamp another sentiment. This sentiment comes from the Greetings of the Season. This isn't new, but it's a great sentiment set. It's just a small one. And this was just absolutely perfect for the Sweet Wishes because it says, "May your holiday be sweet," which is perfect. And then I'll cover that with some alabaster embossing powder and then heat set that till that is smooth and melted. And once that's all melted, we're going to grab out our guillotine trimmer and then we're going to trim that down. And guess who's back? Mr. Curious Kitty. All right, and I'll just use my grid line to line that up. And I don't have to do any cutting on the either side because I feel like it was centered pretty well. And now I've got to figure out how I want to set that on there, remembering that the candy canes are raised up pretty good. So I'm going to use some foam squares. So I need 2 on each edge and 1 in the center. I'll peel off that release paper and then we can adhere that down, but I'm going to use a T-ruler to make sure that I do it properly. I don't want that to be crooked at all. And there it is. But I feel like it needs a little bit more, so I'm going to grab out some Gold Rush confetti mix, put that into my tidy tray, and then I'll pop a few of those down, just using my crystal katana, and then I'll use my glue to adhere those down so that they are nice and secure. I haven't gotten my card base ready just yet, so we're going to grab that out. That was cut down to 7 inches by 8.5 inches, and I'm scoring it at 3.5 inches. And then I'll use that Trinity bone folder to just make sure that that has a good crease. I love that bone folder for that. It's perfect. And then we'll adhere down our card panel to our card base using that same liquid glue. And it fits perfectly on there. I do want to do a little bit to the inside, which I probably should have done first, but we're going to stamp out another sentiment from that Greetings of the Season. And I had already adhered down my little red outlines from the candy canes, so it says, "Wishing you a season of love and joy." And that's going to finish off our Slimline card. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I just love that brand new Sweet Holiday Wishes die set. Just perfect. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already done so. And be sure to come and check out the Trinity blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more inspiration. As always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.